Good afternoon, everyone. It is Kevin Harris. It is another episode of the Benchwarmer podcast. And today, a very special guest. I like to call him the voice of Pensacola. And I've had the pleasure of working once with him at a Seawolves game this past year. Not a Seawolves game, but an FPHL game. But we know what we're talking about. Josh Gay from, I like to say, from the Pensacola Ice Flyers, Pensacola Wahoos, whatever else you do. But we're going to dig into that a little bit. So, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Kevin. This is awesome. I was really excited to work with you over in Mississippi, so this is fantastic.
Yeah, and you're one of those that and I do some on ice intermissions and stuff like that, and I've done them in the past and stuff. But everybody's always like, "You're no Josh." Well, God damn it!
It wasn't intentional. I can say that.
No, it's all good. And I got the pleasures, and I said for the longest time, uh, as I did on ice for the Seawolves. I did on ice for the Surge. Going to be doing on ice for the Seawolves again this upcoming season. And always in those two leagues, in ECHL and SPHL, the rivalry was always the Pensacola, either Ice Pilots or Ice Flyers. So when I moved to Pensacola, I said, I still hold a grudge. I'm not going to a game.
Oh,
And then Joe Pace came over and played one game or played a few games this year with Pensacola, but I happened to be able to get to one of them and watch. And then I got to see you in action. And man, you are really good at what you do.
I
I can tell
appreciate
you
that.
that. And
I
so
appreciate it.
how did you go ahead? Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say I just take an approach of having fun. I really do. I do take it serious, but it's my release.
Right.
I take it serious though, and I try to get better. I'm doing it 10 years now, so yeah, I hope I know a little bit about what I'm doing.
I think you do. So how did you get into it all to begin with?
So that's a really interesting story. About 10 years ago now, the Wahoos were coming to town. I uh, I really had no inkling that I was going to try to work for them or anything like that. But I was sitting on the couch, and look, back in high school, I did all the morning announcements and the news show or whatever in high school, and we are sitting there on the couch and drinking a few beers, and I'm watching Twitter, and they had open tryouts for the announcer for the Wahoos just down the street at the mall. And being 4 or 5 beers deep, I was fearless and said, "Hey, I'm going to go down to the mall and try out." And it was really funny. It was American Idol style. They had a big stage in the middle of the mall and the whole thing. And I go up there. They hand me a script. I read it, and all three judges told me I was terrible. One of them just ripped me to shreds. So I was like, well, all right, whatever. I'll go shop at Belk now. But as I walked off the stage, they offered me the job, and I was kind of like, wait, what? What do you mean? The judges just ripped me a new one, and they said, oh, they were trying out to be the PA announcer or the MC. I was, oh, so that's how it started. I had a lot of bumps and bruises along the way that first year with the Wahoos. I didn't know how to be a PA announcer, didn't know how to be a personality. And But yeah, we've worked through it for 10 years now.
That's awesome. And how did the Ice Flyers come about?
That's even funnier. I was at work, and our head of promotions at the Ice Flyers used to work as head of promotions for the Wahoos, and our PA announcer for the Ice Flyers called out sick, and they needed somebody last minute. I couldn't tell you the last time I had seen a hockey game. I can't
Right.
tell you the last time I had heard a hockey PA announcer. So I jumped on YouTube, looked up videos of NHL announcers, and stumbled upon a guy named Wes Johnson. He is a fantastic guy. He's a voice actor, the whole nine, up for the Washington Capitals. Great follow on social media, by the way. And I just said, well, I'm going to do whatever that guy does. I showed up. I overdid it. I was way too big of a voice, in my opinion. And Greg liked what I did and stuck with me. So I've been there, I think now. So I've done Wahoos for 10, and that would be 8 with the Ice Flyers.
That's awesome. I What else, do you do any other announcing outside of just those two?
Yeah, so there's a group called Run Pensacola in Pensacola. So I do a lot of
Mhm.
5Ks and endurance events. Those are always fun. Um, it's a different change of pace because instead of announcing 5 players, you're literally announcing the names of 700 runners. So it's really really cool. And then I do random events. Tomorrow night, I'm flying back to Pensacola overnight to MC an event, our Fiesta Ball, and then
Okay.
I'm flying right back out to California on Saturday.
So yeah, for those of you that don't know, he is in California right now. Josh, you got to do it. You got to turn that camera and let them see that view.
All right, so I'm sitting in San Francisco, and right there is San Francisco Bay, and a little spot right behind me there is Alcatraz, Coit Towers right there. So yeah, it's look, I can't complain about the view. I sit here and work as much as I can, uh, staring at cruise ships and the sort.
Yeah, no kidding. So is there, you do the announcing and you, like I said, you do it well, but do you have a, are you happy with where you're at, or do you want to see if possibly, one day, somebody in the major leagues calls or the NFL calls or anything like that?
Man, that's a loaded question. Because so first of all, just as well, there's the money in sports is not on the media side.
Yeah, no.
Unless you're a Joe Buck or a Jim Nance or a former quarterback, you're not going to make a killing in sports. And so I tried out for the Saints. Yeah, that didn't happen. And frankly, the guy they have over there sounds like a Saints announcer, so
Yep.
that's perfect. Um, I don't think I would ever turn down a gig, but I'm not going to go out of my way to go after something where I'd have to move or anything
I
like that.
got you.
My day job, I stumbled into a great day job that I absolutely love. I wake up early and stay up late working at that, and my announcing is kind of my release. So they always say that if you love something and then you make it your job, you'll stop loving it.
Yep.
And I did that years ago as a scuba instructor, and scuba lost its fun. So I do just enough announcing to where I love sports.
And that's the way I look at radio. I was in radio for 12 years or whatever, and I'm out of it, and now I'm back into it, but it's a hobby now.
Right.
It's not work. So I can sit back here and just, I can sit on a computer all day long now and have fun. But when I doing music and stuff like that, but when I was doing it as a living, I was like, God, I got to do this again.
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, no, I fully get it. So Stanley Cup playoffs going on.
Yeah.
So my original question. So I talked to Zach Sargis, who's with he was in the FPHL, and my question was to him was, who do you think is going to win the Stanley Cup, and why is it Tampa Bay? And now I'm really like, damn it, Tampa Bay.
Yeah. So here, look, I think that it's going to be Tampa's series to lose, right? But out here, so I got the other day, I had the treat to go to NBA Finals Game 2.
Nice.
And so out here, I ran into Ernie Johnson from TNT
Mm-hmm.
and
I
talked with,
saw that. Yeah.
yeah, fantastic guy. He spent way too much time talking with me, which is just a fantastic guy. But I asked him, I said, yeah, all right, who's going to win this series? And he said, Warriors in 4. Well, Boston comes out of the gate and wins game 1, right? And so that's my feeling of what's going to happen in the final here in the Stanley Cup. Look, Tampa, I think that every phase of the game, offense, defense, specialty teams, their goaltending has been superb. I I don't see how Colorado could beat them, and then Colorado sweeps Edmonton, and then
Yeah.
it throws you into go. Well, man, maybe they're for real.
So no, and when I saw what Colorado did to Nashville,
Yeah,
I was just like, Jesus, Colorado's got, that's going to be an interesting team throughout the rest of the playoffs because they just annihilated Nashville. I mean, they didn't even
Yeah,
give Nashville a chance.
and I
So,
think a lot of that's their depth. Frankly, I really do. I don't think it's their big names. I think it's kind of those grinders, right?
right. Yep.
Uh, I mean, Lakinen's been just fantastic for Colorado. But to me, the best player on the ice is going to be Vasilevsky, and so that's going to be tough.
Yeah, it's gonna be an interesting one. And then the NBA finals, I sat there and I was like, please let it be Dallas and Miami. Please let it be Dallas and Miami. And then we get Golden State and Boston. And now I'm like, I really don't care, but I would really Boston, I think, and Boston has looked fantastic.
Yes, yeah,
And I heard somebody say, and I couldn't believe it when they said it, and when it was down to when it was Boston and was it Boston Miami in the Boston
yeah.
Miami conference finals. They're like, whoever comes out of the East is going to win the NBA finals. I'm like, there's no way. And
No,
then I'm watching Boston do this, and I'm like, Boston sucked at the beginning of the year. What the hell happened?
yeah. And look, Tatum the other night he played lights out. But what was amazing to me, you expect physical play from Draymond and that, but Curry was really physical. And then they had lights out shooting from Poole and a bunch of other guys. So I think the Golden State that we expected, I think that's what we saw in Game 2. So
All right.
we'll see once they go back to Boston. I've got a bunch of friends here that are from Boston, so we've been talking smack all week, and we'll see how it comes out. But
Yeah,
I
we'll see.
really,
We'll see how it goes tonight.
yeah, I, look, if Golden State takes one on the road, then you have a series, and
Yep.
that's all Boston wanted to do is take one here, and they did. I just fear that they they woke up the Golden State Warriors.
Yeah. So I normally would have done this because people know me as a jackass, and I normally would have done this, and I normally would have had my Biloxi Shuckers jersey on
Oh,
with my Biloxi Shuckers hat and all
the
of that
oyster openers.
because I'm a Biloxi boy.
Yeah, of course.
So and I've always told people but I work in Pensacola now, and my store is Academy Sports. So we're eventually, I was told next year, going to start carrying the Wahoo's gear and stuff like that. So I'm like, all right. So maybe when I go to a game, I'll wear a Wahoo shirt with my Shuckers hat, and see. And then somebody bought me a Trash Panda shirt, so
Uh,
I've got the Trash Panda shirt now because I think minor league baseball has the best names in
oh,
sports
by far.
forever. I mean, the Jumbo Shrimp, you got the Biloxi Shuckers, the Wahoos, the Trash Pandas, the Biscuits. I
Oh,
mean,
the biscuits are fantastic too.
you
Yeah.
just and the Mud Hens. I mean, you can go on and on. The Chihuahuas, you can go on if you dig through all of the minor league names. So if you had to pick, I'm not going to put this on. I'm not going to put you on the spot. Like, give me your top five because I know that'd be tough. But give me your top couple names that you like in minor league baseball.
So I'll tell you this: one of my favorite things to do announcing for the Wahoos is I slip in bad nicknames for teams. So and I like to be alliterative. So I like them to have both the same word, the same letter to start with. So Montgomery is the breakfast bread. The Mobile Bay Bears were the underwater Ursines. But what's really funny is the one that I can't, I've tried, but they have such a bad good name. It's the Trash Pandas. They are like, you can't make fun of that because it's making fun of itself in the best way possible.
So when they announced that was going to be the name, immediately I said, I've got to get a jersey. I've got to get a shirt. I was like, I'll probably never see them play a game live, but I've got to have that just because that was always my favorite line in Guardians of the Galaxy is
Oh yeah.
when he called Rocket Trash Panda.
Oh yeah.
So when they said Trash Pandas, I'm like, that's probably the most unique, worst name I've ever heard in my life. And I was like, that is just absolutely brilliant. And I wish other leagues would do stuff like that.
Look, I saw the Savannah Ghost Pirates.
Uh-huh.
Like I think that the other leagues are going to start getting into that. I think they're going to start moving towards the fun, but I think it's slower going. And I think, look, it all comes down to the fact that minor league baseball figured out a long time ago that baseball is not necessarily the most exciting sport, right? The magic of going to a baseball game is sitting there, keeping score, enjoying that slow pace, whatever. But baseball was the first to figure out most of those people that are going to a minor league baseball game, they're not there for baseball.
Nope.
They are there to hang out on a Friday night, watch fireworks on a Saturday. Whereas what impressed me a ton about the ice flyers and heck the Seawolves or the exhibition games that you guys had over there, those are hockey fans.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely.
And that's really, really cool. They know their hockey, they're into it. So I don't think the gonzo factor has to be as strong in hockey, but
Right.
I think they're figuring out that that's the other revenue stream. And you just reminded me, a buddy of mine works for the Sod Poodles. That's my other nickname for an armadillo. He works for the Sod Poodles, and that has to be my favorite minor league baseball name. So
that's awesome. Let's see. So we've got Jared's in the chat.
Oh,
we're here in Biloxi. Can't wait to have Josh come be our guest PA announcer again.
Man, I tell you what, that was a blast. And this is a testament to the Biloxi fans. I thought I was going to go over there and be underwhelmed, right? I thought that I was going to go over there and go, what am I doing? I'm going to a city. I've been driving a couple of hours on a work night, and I'm going to go announce for a crowd that has no idea what's going on with hockey. Probably has no interest in being there, whatever. And that first game was the smallest game
right
you guys had, and it was a blast. I'm telling you, the fans there have been hungry for some hockey, and I really, I hate that we're in separate leagues, but I do hope that we can get some Bay Area smack talk going on.
Well, and I was gonna say, yeah, separate leagues, but what's to stop a preseason game from happening? Or
it's true.
I was thinking about that today. I was like, the season start roughly about the same time. SPHL, I think, is going to start a little sooner.
Yep.
Than the FHL or the FPHL, but there might be that week before or something that you can get a quick, hey, let's have a friendly game. We're not going to try to fight. We're not going to try to kill each other, but just a friendly game.
An exhibition, yeah.
Yeah.
And like that's it brings up a really good point that not only having a hockey team there, but having a sheet of ice brings up rivalry in the youth sports, brings up, hockey in the South is growing. And I think having that other presence nearby, because I mean, here, Birmingham, in Pensacola, you're going to Birmingham. I mean, that's it's twice as far. So having Biloxi right down the road, heck, I was thinking about this. We used to, with the Wahoos, take season ticket holders or employees on like kind of a fun little trip over to see each other's games, kind of a shadow trip, so to speak. And that may be actually a good fun way to kick some stuff up too.
Absolutely. And I remember the last year with the Surge, we would hop on a bus.
Yeah.
And we brought a bus over to the Pensacola, Mississippi games and stuff like that. So
I got to tell you, I really miss that I-10 corridor of Tallahassee, Pensacola, Mobile, Biloxi, all having teams and just having wars on the ice. Like I was a kid growing up, and I think that having that made a big impact on me. Now I ended up living in Tallahassee and having to work in Mobile, but when I grew up, man, I hated those towns. Oh man, it was
fun. So Jared wants your opinion. You think the SPHL and FPHL may ever merge?
So I think they both have their own spot, right? I think they have their place, right? So FPHL, there's some things that I love about it. I absolutely love that there's traveling players. I love the player coach idea. Man, there's no penalties. It's a lot of fighting,
right?
And I think the SPHL is still trying to find its legs after a down period. I think it's on the way up. I don't think they'll merge. but I do think that the talent levels are going to get in the same vicinity. And so, I mean, ultimately, I think the SPHL's got a ton of northern teams. I think that the so does the FPHL. I wouldn't. I would predict more of a swap of teams and talent, where it's a almost like a southern and a northern half
Mm-hmm.
before I would see a pure merger. But I, I wouldn't say it's out of the question, but I see that, and next year is going to be a really interesting year with all the players that lost or that got extra eligibility. All of the European players didn't come over. I think both leagues are going to see a flood of talent. I mean, and I'm talking especially at the end of the year. This year you didn't have a lot of that movement. A
Right,
lot
right,
of
right, right.
a lot of call ups, a lot of because the talent pool wasn't there. And I really think that you're going to see a lot of guys going back and forth between the FPHL and the SPHL really, really quickly because there's going to be a lot deeper talent after all the kind of the COVID years of nobody being able to come out of college or the European folks, especially those defensemen, man.
Yeah, no, yeah. It's fun when you talk to some of the I talked to, I mean, I talked to Justin McDonald on my last episode. And Justin was talking about the time he went over and he played in Sweden for
Oh
a
yeah,
season. And he said he was just talking about the differences being it's more of a laid back game in Sweden, but the on ice talent is just absolutely amazing.
that's
So
what I was really disappointed. I took a Christmas trip to France, and I had to make a choice when we were in Nice to either go see a Nice soccer game or a Nice hockey game. And when I first asked about the hockey game, they showed me a picture of the arena, and it's a barn smaller than Birmingham, whatever. But then I was told that the talent level and the way they play is really fun to watch. And look, I went to a soccer game, and it immediately made me a fan of European soccer uh,
absolutely.
because it was rowdy, it was fun. But I do regret not having those on separate nights where I could have gone to one because I've heard the exact same thing. And the Swedish league I've heard is just absolutely deep.
Yeah, and that's what Justin was saying was just the talent pool over there is just absolutely ridiculous. Um, so I think we're about to wrap up here, but I want to ask you a couple of questions. So we covered baseball, and we covered basketball. Who's your NFL team?
Look, being from Pensacola, it's got to be the Emmitt Smith Dallas
I
Cowboys.
got you. I got you.
If you were not a Cowboys fan in that era and you lived in Pensacola, you were like the outcast. So,
I got
so
you.
yeah, how about them Cowboys?
I hear you. Yeah, I was born and raised a Saints fan. My grandfather was an original season ticket holder at Old Tulane Stadium, so I had no choice but to stay a Saints fan. So I'm interested in this year just to see. Now the rumors are floating again because they don't know if Jameis is going to be healed. Now they're talking about Baker,
Oh yeah,
so we'll see what happens there. But I honestly think the Cowboys, if everybody stays healthy
but so that's
and they keep themselves grounded.
look. So this is coming from a Red Sox fan from the late '90s, early 2000s. Every year was the Red Sox year if they stayed healthy, if they stayed grounded. And
Right.
I tell you, I almost just gave up on it all in '03 with Aaron Boone and the whole thing. And then, of course, we figured it out and turned it around. I think the same thing may happen with the Cowboys, but it's going to be after like a couple of years of just, I mean, we're there, but a couple of years of absolute agony before we figure out that, what, sometimes it's not the marquee player.
Yep.
I love Dak. I absolutely love Dak, and I love Zeke, but I think Zeke's on the tail end of his
I
career.
was just going to ask you that because I was thinking the same thing. Is Zeke's not the Zeke he was 4 years ago?
Well, and so it
So
was really funny. I was watching. I saw one of those memes from probably NBC Sports or somebody that ranked the top rushing seasons over the last 20 years or whatever it was. And Zeke had 2 of the top 20,
Yep.
but we're 4 years removed from them, right? So, and the average shelf life of a NFL running back's 3.5 seasons. I really think that we're beyond that. So, look, we got Pollard. I think reestablishing a short passing game, though. I love the big names that we have on the outside. CD Lambs, I love that, but I really think that and whatever about his personality, but the Cole Beasleys,
Yeah, absolutely.
the Danny Amendolas of the league, those guys, I think that that's what the Cowboys are missing. We've tried to recreate that with tight ends, but I think that that's going to be the key for us, is that in that defensive secondary where it's been shoddy for the last few years.
I said that about the Saints when they signed Jarvis Landry. I said Jarvis Landry is going to play that. If you go back to the Super Bowl year for the Saints, Lance Moore played that slot position, that reliable, going to get the first down regardless of what's happening. I said Jarvis Landry is going to play that position. He's going to be in the slot, and he's going to be he'll probably be better than Lance Moore, of course, but he's going to be the new Lance Moore.
Yeah.
So,
and you've got to have those guys across the middle. I go back, this is actually a really funny conversation I was having the other day about old Florida State quarterbacks, and Jameis being one of them, but we were the topic of Chris Winkie.
Oh wow, yeah.
And the whole thing was Chris Winkie could hit the deep ball, but he couldn't hit those guys across the middle. And I think that in this day and age in the NFL, if you can't hit that middle route, if you can't hit that guy coming across the middle, or you don't have that guy coming across the middle, you're not going to win games.
Absolutely. Well, Josh, I'm going to let you go because I know you want to watch Game 3 tonight. So
I have to go back to the office. Yes, I have to go back to the office and keep working, and then get on a red eye back home.
Well, when you're back in Pensacola, let's get together, have dinner or whatever, and talk about sports outside of this.
Amen. Next beer's on me, man.
You got it. Have a good one. Thank you, Josh.
See y'all.